Evening, everyone. Welcome to January 20th, 2026 Select Board meeting. This meeting, hearing of the Ayer Select Board, will be held in person at the location provided on this notice. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation via Zoom is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with a particular interest in a specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. This meeting will be live on Zoom and Channel 8. The public may access the proceedings by joining Zoom meeting ID number 978-772-8220 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Carly Antonellis, Assistant Town Manager at atm@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220 extension 100 prior to the meeting. If I could ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Any changes to the agenda?
I have none.
Yes?
Madam Chair, if I could, apologies to any confusion to the board on the start time for the agenda. It is correct, but as the board knows, back on December 16th, we discussed having tonight's meeting start at 5 o'clock. With the holidays, the budget, and that's on me, it slipped our mind and had it for 6 o'clock, and it was posted for 6 o'clock. But Selectman Tavares had asked for the 5 o'clock back on December 16th.
And we did vote on it, approve it.
So he could be here. So apologies to Selectman Tavares on the mix-up on my part on the time. So.
And I apologize when I looked at the agenda, I didn't notice anything amiss.
Yep.
So, okay, but back to, so we had no changes for the agenda? Okay.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye. And again, our apologies to Mr. Tavares. It is not his fault. All right. With that, anyone here for public input? Yes, Mr. Curran, come on down.
Madam Chair, if I might, I'd like to read into the record a thank you from the Ayer Council on Aging Board of Directors to the residents of the town of Ayer who, over the fall, voted overwhelmingly to support the building of a new senior center and allocated sufficient funds to do so. So we are very thankful for that, and I'd like to read a letter into the record. We, the Ayer Council on Aging Board of Directors, would like to thank the residents of Ayer for their overwhelming support for the building of a new senior center. The town of Ayer has been working on this initiative for 7 years. We know that over the next 2 years, we will see the completion of a building capable of providing the level of service the residents of Ayer both need and deserve. The unusually large turnout at town meeting held on October 24th, 2025, which supported the building of a new senior center by a clear 2/3 majority voice vote, and the remarkable turnout at the ballot on November 4th, 2025, which voted in favor 677 to 354, are a testament to just how important this project is to the townspeople of Ayer. It is especially noteworthy that the debt exclusion vote on November 4th was the only measure on the ballot. The people made a dedicated effort to travel to Town Hall to have their voices be heard by voting for this specific project. We would also like to acknowledge the ongoing work of all the members of the Senior Center Building Committee. Without their individual and collective contributions, this project would not be possible. We would especially like to thank the Senior Center Director, Dr. Katie Petrossi, and the DPW Director, Dan Van Schalkwyk, for their dedication, hard work, and unwavering commitment to this project. We owe them a debt of gratitude. The substantial benefits that will accrue to the residents of Ayer over the course of many generations will be due in no small part to their expertise and foresight. As this project proceeds, we look forward to continuing to work with the Select Board, other town committees and boards, and the Town Manager's Office led by Robert Pomfriand as Ayer's new senior center moves from an idea to a reality. And it's been signed.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else here for public input? Okay, with that, I'd like to ask Mr. Luke Kirkland, Director of the Ayer Library. Come on down.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
So in the spring at town meeting, town approved a home rule petition that would allow the Ayer Library to amend the Act of Incorporation to change some matters of how the body is governed. That bill was introduced in the House as H4174 by Representative Senna, passed in November. The Senate has asked for one very minor amendment to it. And so last week, the trustees of the library voted to approve the change in language, which is simply to clarify. Previously, the first draft combined the two ways that the board could fill vacancies into one sentence. This new amendment separates that into two separate processes, one of which is filling by a joint meeting of the Select Board and the Board of Trustees. The other is the Select Board calling a special election. And so they have asked us to have the Select Board vote to approve that amendment so that it can proceed in the Senate. If you'd like, I'm happy to read the changes in the language. What would be helpful? Yeah.
Why don't you read it
Okay,
so
so
the public can hear it?
The original language says, vacancies on the Board of Trustees shall be filled until the next annual election or a special election called by the Select Board for such purposes by the remaining members of the Board of Trustees and the Select Board at a joint meeting held after 1 week's notice has been posted on the town website, the town bulletin board, if any, and at the Ayer Library. The amended language says, vacancies on the Board of Trustees shall be filled until the next annual town election by the remaining members of the Board of Trustees and the Select Board at a joint meeting held after 1 week's notice has been posted on the town website, the town bulletin board, if any, and at the town and at the Ayer Library. Alternatively, the Select Board may call for a special election to fill a vacancy, provided, however, that a person elected at a special election to fill such a vacancy shall serve for the remainder of the unexpired term. So they pull that clause out about the special election into its own sentence and clarify that that person will only serve the remainder of the term.
Yeah, I like that. That looks cleaner. So I have no issues.
I have none. I'll make a motion that the board approve the amendment to the home rule petition as presented.
Seconded? All those in favor?
Aye.
And chair says aye. Thank you very much.
Thank
Keep
you
us
so much.
posted when it's finalized.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Okay.
Luke.
All right. Susan Copeland, Town Clerk. Come on down.
Hello.
Hello.
So it's that time of year, it's January, and it's time to call the annual town election that will be held on Tuesday, May 12th from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on the second floor, Great Hall. We will have, upon a positive approval from the board, we will have the nomination papers ready to go tomorrow morning when we open at 8 a.m. So, and all the appropriate information will be posted on our website and all other avenues. So at this time, the seats that are up, not the ballot, the seats that will be on the ballot, we have one assessor for a 3-year term, one Board of Health for 3-year term, one Commissioner of Trust Funds for 3-year term, one Constable for 3-year term, one Library Trustee for 3-year term, 2 Park Commissioners for 3-year terms, 2 planning board members for 3-year terms, 1 regional school district committee member for a 3-year term, 1 select board member for a 3-year term, and then 1 housing authority member, and it's a 5-year term for the housing. So nomination papers, like I said, will be ready starting bright and early tomorrow. The last day to request the nomination papers is Friday, March 20th, 2026 at 12 p.m. The memo that I had sent over had a typo that's in the packet, so I did give you the updated date. So it's Friday, March 20th is the last day to request the nomination papers, and then the last day to submit your completed nomination papers is Tuesday, March 24th, 2026 at 5 p.m. in the clerk's office. So, do you have any questions or?
Any questions?
Nope. Excuse me, I'll make a motion that the board open the nomination process for the annual town elections offices to appear on the ballot as read by the chair.
Seconded? All those in favor?
Aye.
And chair says aye. The election is approved.
Ready to go, 8 a.m. I hope there's a line. The second thing is, as we know, passed with the Votes Act of 2022, is that it is required that the select board authorize the police chief to assign police details for elections in 2026. So this is for the in-person election day. We are supposed to have a detail officer in lieu of constables. So we do have to approve this every year. And as the wording is in the motion that it says for the 2026 calendar year elections, so that covers, we do have a busier fall coming with the state primary and a general election in November, but it would also help us if we had any special elections that were to come up, that we would be covered, if you will. So I don't know if you have any questions on this as well.
I have none.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion that the board vote to authorize the chief of police to assign police details for the 2026 calendar year elections.
Seconded? All those in favor?
Aye.
And chair says aye. You have your police detail.
That's it. That's all for me.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Very much. Next up, Ray Freelander, Director, and Alicia Hersey, Program Manager, Community and Economic Development. Come on down. Hello.
Our Community Development Program Manager, Alicia Hersey, will be leading us through these next 3 items.
Okay. Could you move your microphone a little closer to you? Thank you.
So I'm going to start off with our first request, which is 25 Main Street, the Spalding Building, the subordination and assumption of mortgage. And there is a clarification on just the wording on our recommendations, so I'm going to pass those around to you, and I'll read it out loud for the record. So, sorry. One more for Carly. Thank you. Okay, so the CDBG program renovated the Spalding Building, which is 25 Main Street / 1 Washington Street in 2004. At that point in time, it was a building owned by Calvin Moore. In 2012, he sold the building and to Keith Layton, Trust Corporation. And the agreement on that renovation was that we would have 6 of the 7 units as affordable units for 30 years. And the mortgage is deferred payment, 0% interest, forgivable mortgage of $750,000. So that is what we're talking about. It started reducing in 2024, and over 10 years, it will reduce to 0%. It is the instrument that, it's the instrument that keeps that in line with the affordable, but it is a forgivable loan. So the new buyers of this property, as Jabez LLC, and is represented by Eric O'Brien, who's here. And Keith Layton is being represented by his attorney, Kyle Croter. And if there's any questions for you, for them, please feel free. Do you have any questions on this request?
No, just a quick thing. Carly, could you put that on the screen, the page that's in the packet?
Oh, yeah, thank you. So our recommendation, and this is the change in your memo, the Ayer Community and Economic Development Office recommends that the Ayer Select Board approve Jabez LLC assumption of the town's mortgage and the affordable housing deed restriction. In addition, we recommend the town subordinate its mortgage to IC Federal Credit Union mortgage contingent upon the proposed guarantee of $250,000 by corporate guarantee of $250,000 by Jabez LLC. The reason we were asking for the corporate guarantee is because, as you see, we have a bank appraisal that is lower than the value of the two liens on the property. Currently, the lien for our mortgage is going down by $6,250 per month. So, and it will be at zero in, I didn't write that down, 2034. So October 26th. Any questions?
Anyone have any questions? No?
This does not affect the affordability of those units.
So I'll make a motion that the Ayer Select Board approve the Jabez LLC assumption of the town's mortgage and affordable housing deed restriction. And that the town subordinate its mortgage to IC Federal Credit Union mortgage contingent on the proposed corporate guarantee of $250,000 by Jabez LLC.
Seconded. Yeah, this one did. Get it in my head. All those in favor? Aye. And then chair says aye.
Thank you.
All right. And
So our next memo that's in front of you is for the community development strategy, which we review every year or every couple of years when we are putting together a CDBG grant. So the Office of Community and Economic Development has done a lot of public outreach and public input sessions and public hearings over the past year. And with that information we've gathered, the number one project that the community is interested in pursuing is the senior center. And we have updated our community development strategy to reflect that. So we're looking for the Board of Selectmen to approve the updated community development strategy as written. Something that people might want to understand is CDBG stands for Community Development Block Grant. And one of the key factors in the CDBG grant process is the community input on projects. So
this was the meeting you had.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. And yes, you helped me greatly there.
We're doing the slides for you.
Yeah. But it's not just one meeting. It's one of the reasons why we do so many outreach programs and public input sessions, because it is key and it is essential for them to see that the community has been involved in this decision and where we're going and how we're planning to use the money that they give us within the community.
I have no questions.
Nope. Neither do So I'll make a motion that the board approve the updated revised community development strategy for 2026 to 2031 as presented in the packet.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
And chair says aye. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Item.
So the final item goes along with that, and that is the request that the select board support the community development and community and economic development moving forward on a CDBG grant to support the construction of a senior center. And we're looking for the board to support that.
Oh, yes. Is there a dollar amount basically that?
Right now, it changes every year, but right now they're anticipating it will be for a single community $850,000 per year. Now the question is still out there whether we will be allowed to go for a second one or not while the project is happening, but we'll be back to you on that.
And this doesn't require like shovel ready, like you can do it now, or?
That is unclear.
Okay.
I would tell you that it does require that it be shovel
Oh,
ready.
okay.
But the definition of shovel ready is what we're still waiting for answers on.
Okay.
Yes.
So theoretically, one of the answers of shovel ready could be we have the slot, and the shovels are on order. Right?
Well, so there's different definitions, and we have gone for grants when we've been 90% shovel ready, but sometimes shovel ready means that you have all your permits in place.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
So we'll be back to you on that.
Okay.
Good. Yeah. All right.
Make a motion that the board approve the Ayer Office of Community Development pursuit of a CDBG grant for the construction of the proposed Ayer Senior Center.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
And chair says aye.
Thank you very much,
All right.
guys.
Thank you,
Get that grant.
Okay.
Well, I know you're a very good grant writer, so I have faith. Okay. Well, there he is. All right. Chief Johnson, Air Fire Department, come on down.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And as I mentioned in the memo, Mr. Jeff LaGrosse, Senior Planner for the Montechusett Regional Planning Commission, is also with us tonight.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good
Thank you for
evening.
having
Welcome.
Just a brief explanation why we're both here tonight. About 3 years ago, our hazard mitigation plan did expire, and what that does, it gives us, when that plan's active, it gives us access to other grants along the federal grant level, not only our department, but many of the other town departments. As Emergency Management Director, I was able to apply for a $25,000 grant to get that plan up to date again. We awarded that grant about 2 years ago, and we're lucky enough to be able to have the Montechusett Regional Planning Commission be able to update that plan. They were the ones who previously did that as well, so that was helpful. So we've had a few meetings, as explained in there. We've had some public input along the way. We also had a public survey, and so that leads us to coming here tonight. Jeff will explain the next steps, and we'll kind of wrap this up by the spring.
Thank you, Chief. And again, thank you for having us here tonight. Jeff LaGrosse with the Montechusett Regional Planning Commission. And next slide, please. So just a brief agenda. We're going to talk about the survey results, the primary components of the plan, and key sections and findings of the plan, as well as introduce a public review and comment process that's going to be initiated beginning tomorrow for a 14-day period of time, with an extra day in there in advance in case there's any technical difficulties at any point during that period. Put an extra day in. Next slide. And so, as Chief mentioned, there was a hazard mitigation working group. There are many people that participated in this plan, and I'd just like to thank Chief Johnson, Town Manager Pomprion, Assistant Town Manager Antonellis, and Public Works Director, Chief of Police, Building Commissioner, and Conservation Agent, who also played a key role in this. And then from my team, our former Planning and Development Director, Karen Chapman, myself, and former Regional Planner, Ryan Doherty, worked on different aspects of the plan. The public survey generated 104 responses, and full survey results will be part of an appendix of the plan. We generated pretty good input from the public on the survey. It was open for approximately 6 to 8 months period of time. One reason was we wanted to get at least 100 responses as part of that plan. We were able to do that. Next slide. The general purpose, as Chief mentioned, is for becoming eligible for FEMA grants. Certain FEMA grants require that you have an up-to-date hazard mitigation plan. And the plan is a 5-year plan. That plan had been previously expired for a couple of years. The last plan was a regional plan that was done for the entire region. Now, the plan that we had here was a complete rewrite, meaning that Ayer now has its own local hazard mitigation plan for the town, specific to Ayer. And the process is pretty basic, but it includes a lot of public participation, the forming of a working group to guide the process and to provide their input. We gather some data, analyze the data, make recommendations to the working group based on that. Then they provide us with additional feedback on certain hazards that are identified, ranking of those hazards. We then identify vulnerabilities or risks related to the hazards, and from there we're able to come up with a list of action items in order to address those hazards over time or mitigate or reduce risk to those hazards. And this year, now we're this is the second public meeting. We had a public forum early on in the process. This is to present a draft of the plan and to initiate that public comment period. And so from there, the plan will be sent to MEMA and FEMA for their review at the state and federal level. And once they approve the plan, they will issue a notice to adopt to the town. And at that time, 45 to 60 days from now, the select board will then take the final plan approved by FEMA and MEMA and have a vote to adopt the plan, which makes it officially the approved plan at that time. So no vote is required tonight. This is an informational presentation on the plan itself. There are several major components of a plan. We conduct a full capabilities assessment, looking at the different town departments, boards, and committees, and what their capacity is to implement the plan and to generally carry out hazard mitigation activities. We look at critical facilities, specifically any of those critical facilities that might be within a flood zone or at risk or vulnerable to another hazard. We then identify the local hazards that occur here in Ayer and that are likely to occur in the future, and any vulnerabilities that they may pose. From there, we do a full evaluation of past occurrences and future likelihoods, and then from all of that information, we develop a natural hazard risk matrix, meaning that we score each one of those hazards, the general hazard categories, but also specific vulnerabilities or risks that could occur from those natural hazards are all rated and ranked. Things like flooding, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, drought, so on and so forth. Next slide. The actual plan itself consists of 6 sections plus a references section, so technically 7 sections, but the first section is just an introduction. The second outlines the planning process in detail. The third provides a community profile, and then a hazard and vulnerability assessment is done in section 4. Section 5 is then the mitigation strategy and action plan that comes out of it. And then 6 is plan maintenance. Plan maintenance refers to actually how to implement the plan over time and how to then prepare for the next update of the plan 5 years from now. So hazard mitigation plans are kind of a living, evolving plan. As they're slowly implemented, you're already beginning to think and plan for the next iteration, right? So you might implement an action that was rated a high priority, and 2 or 3 years into the plan, there might be a new action that's identified. You would want to start to identify those as the plan is being implemented, so that when it comes time to update the next plan, you know which actions have been completed, which ones should be carried forward, which ones are ongoing, or what new actions or vulnerabilities might exist that you need to address. We provide, for that plan implementation and maintenance, we provide a detailed Excel spreadsheet that lists several grant opportunities, but also outlines the mitigation action plan and strategies, basically provides an implementation toolkit in addition. It's a supplement to the plan. So briefly, section 1 is the introduction, section 2 is the planning process.
Sorry.
Nope, that's good, go,
Okay.
yep. And then here I just listed again, the working group members. That's listed in part of section 2. Next. As we get into section 3, here's a couple of examples of some of the information, the community profile. Next slide. Most importantly, here are the full list of hazards and vulnerabilities generated and scored for the town of Ayer. You should be able to see that on your screen, but the presentation slides will be made available and posted online. But this is ultimately the bulk of the plan within section 4. What is really sort of the first outcome of the plan is this matrix of vulnerabilities and their risk scores. And then next slide. This shows some of the flood zones, some of the different hazards that exist throughout Ayer. And then after the matrix of risks or vulnerabilities and the scoring, this is the outcome. The ultimate outcome is section 5, an action plan. And I've laid out the action plan here with images in the slide, but again, you'll be able to look more closely at those when you review the draft plan. Important to note, these actions are not in any rank or priority order. That'll be a final part of the review process. We'll be ranking those action items into some rank and priority through scoring generated by the Hazard Mitigation Plan Working Group. Plan maintenance, we already went into pretty good detail on. Again, I'll note that there's a spreadsheet that accompanies section 6, and that spreadsheet will help the town guide implementation over time, as well as monitor and track actions that might be implemented. There are mitigation action cards generated for each of those actions that you saw in the table, has its separate card. The card will list potential grants that the town could pursue for that particular action. So each card can actually serve almost as a work ticket or a work order. So every action has a potential responsible party lead with many, sometimes additional departments or committees or boards that might assist with that. So those are all listed. They'd be listed on the action card. Chief Johnston and the working group could actually divvy out those mitigation action cards to the different responsible departments or parties, and that will help them then in looking for grants and even for applying for a grant. That card really is the first step in any grant. A lot of the general information you're going to need is right there. And so what are the next steps here? Where do we go from here? So we'll have the 15-day public comment period. And from there, we will then incorporate those comments as they come back. The plan will then get submitted to MEMA and FEMA for their review and approval. The town will then receive a notice to adopt issued by FEMA at that time, and then the select board will take a vote to adopt the plan and formalize it. Once that happens, we have a template resolution that FEMA has provided, an example resolution. The town can put that on their own letterhead. But the template there and some of the information in that example resolution is the wording that FEMA needs for the adoption resolution. So for convenience, we provide a template example of that. Once that's been completed and the select board then votes on it, we can get that back to the Montechusett Regional Planning Commission. I'll insert it into the final document just behind the cover page and table of contents. From there, you've got to also submit a certified copy of the adopted resolution to FEMA, just so they can have it in their records. And we'll stick one in our files too at MRPC, and Chief would probably want one for his files. And then the copy of that goes right in the plan, so there's never any question. It's part of the public document in the plan itself. So with that, I'm wrapping up my presentation. I'd like to thank everybody again and thank everybody that was on the working group that participated, and just announce this 14-day public comment period beginning by the end of the day tomorrow. The plan will be posted. I'll work with Assistant Town Administrator Carly to get that up, and there will be 15 days to review it. Any comments can be submitted either in writing or by email. We ask that you direct them again to Assistant Town Administrator Antonellis, and the email and address are up there. If by any chance anybody doesn't have access to the internet and can't download the plan, or does not prefer to read it in person, or has some reason why it's easier for them to read a printed copy, please reach out, and MRPC will make a printed copy available for public review to be held here in the town manager's office. Final slide, I think. I just wanted to recognize the funding sources again and say thank you one more time. But this funding came from FEMA through MEMA. MEMA administers the hazard mitigation grant locally at the state level, but the funding is federal funding through FEMA. And we at the Montechusett Regional Planning Commission are honored to have the opportunity to serve in updating this plan. So thank you for that opportunity. We enjoyed the process and look forward to the final plan getting approved.
Can you go back just one slide? Sure. Is that, there's a typo up there? It says February 2nd, should be February 5th?
Oh, pardon, sorry about that. I think I was, in my mind, confusing February as the second month. You're absolutely right. Okay. It should be the 5th. Yeah, thank you for catching that. Yeah. I'll update this presentation. In the notices that we put out, it was correct as the 5th. So thank you for seeing that, because yes, that's important, especially if we're posting it up here. It's actually the 5th. Okay. And we don't want to shortchange you. We're actually trying to give you an extra day, not shortchange you a couple days. So, any other questions? I'm happy to take them. Otherwise, I look forward to getting the plan up and posted and having the members review it, and anyone else within the town staff and departments and the public.
No questions, you? No. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Good
for your
work.
time.
Thank you.
For your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, Dan Van Stralwick, DPW Director.
Hello.
Good evening.
Come on down.
I feel like it's been
Right
a long
on time, pretty much. They keep it
Saw
that
him
way.
last week, so.
Oh, yeah. Good review. Okay, a few business items, DPW today. Execution of change order number 3. This is for the Clearwell project, Grove Pond Water Treatment Facility, PFAS systems improvements, we call it formally. But essentially just some items that we've noticed as we've gone through construction that we need to include. Friction clamps for the pump station discharge line, swing gate at the Clearwell, and additional fencing, as long as reduction of 2 trees we didn't need. And an extension of the contract time due to some delays we encountered with National Grid. Project's still going well. We'll be anticipate substantial completion May timeframe this year. So requested motion is to approve the change order number 3. It's $29,801.70, and this is paid through the Army grant, we call it.
I don't have any questions.
And it extends the contract 53 days, right?
Yes.
No questions.
I'll make a motion that the board approve change order number 3 for the Grove Pond WTF PFAS System Improvements Project in the amount of $29,801.70, and to extend the contract time for substantial completion by 53 days for signature by the chair.
Seconded? All those in favor?
Aye.
And chair says aye.
Right. Thank you, board members. Okay, item number 2 is a contract. So we did bid out for our wastewater treatment plant. We have tertiary filter tanks, and those are basically the final part of our process at the wastewater treatment plant. They're cloth filters, And those tanks need rehab, and that's gone through capital, approved through town meeting, and so we have the funding for that project. So we did receive bids, and the low bidder is John W. Egan Co. of West Newton. They've done work for us before, and so we recommend moving forward with the contract with Egan for $46,800.
Nope.
Questions?
I'll make a motion that the board vote to execute the contract for the WWTP tertiary filter tank rehabilitation in the amount of $46,800 for signature by the chair.
Seconded? Oh, all those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye.
All right.
Dead spot right here.
One more item for signature. The third item is an easement agreement. This is with Catania Spagna Corporation. And this was approved or authorized at fall town meeting by town meeting for the select board to enter in, or to execute an easement agreement with Catania Spagna. And so this is for a storage tank installation on 0 Nemco Way property. So this has been vetted by town council and by Catania and signed by them. I have the document here and recommend voting for signature by the board.
No questions. All right, I'll make a motion that the board vote to execute the easement agreement for 0 Nemco Way to Catania Spagna Corporation as provided in the packet for signature by the board.
Seconded? All those in favor?
Aye.
And chair says aye.
Okay.
All right.
The last item, number 4, I just have 2 updates on the projects and items. First one, West Main Bridge over Nonocoicus Brook. As you've seen, we are having a pre-construction public informational meeting, January 28th, 6 p.m. It'll be on Zoom and up in the Great Hall. We'll go over expectations, impacts of the project, the schedule, the traffic patterns that will be involved, and how to receive notifications and updates. So lots of details to be involved in that meeting. We'll record it and post it as well. So just in short, we are planning to start first thing in March once the weather is good. That's the current start. So more to come at that meeting. Just want to let the board know, make sure you're aware.
And when's that meeting again, please?
January 28th, next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Great Hall and Zoom. I'll get more up there on it. Yep.
A lot of people have questions, so this has been talked about for years.
Yeah.
So,
And yeah, and you know, this meeting's very important because it's going to be a big change over there. We'll be getting used to it first, but we'll yep.
you have a question? Yes, Pauline.
Thumbs up. All right.
Oh, I'm
Madam
sorry,
Chair,
there was a thumbs up.
Just a really, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I don't need to yell. I'm sorry. I know I do that a lot. There's been a lot of chatter about this on Facebook, our favorite social media. Dan, I believe you presented this to the board last fall, maybe earlier. I haven't been able to find the meeting, but I just remember you going over all of this months ago. So this is not something new. Can you give me a time frame so I can find it and educate people?
When we last went over this project, yeah, I think September of last year, we might have had an update. I believe on this project was the last time there was an update.
Okay, so August, September timeframe, 2025?
Yes, would have been the last update to the board.
Right, and there's,
All right, that's all.
but you're correct, Pauline. This has been going on for years, and
Yeah.
I mean, Wetzel was here.
Yeah, we've had, there's been issues with the utilities and last minute Verizon letting us know there's a duct bank, so we had to, get there. And then the contractor, I think we put too much time in the contract, so we bid it and he didn't get started last year. But now we have a new team with the contractor and things are going in the right direction.
I get that, and I follow you guys and follow everything. I just want to make sure people are aware, this is not new, so anything I can do to help, I just wanted to check in the time frame.
Okay.
But thank you very much.
Thank you, Pauline.
Okay, the second update, and this is an FYI for the board. So as you're likely aware, Nasoya Foods, they're doing a big expansion over at their facility. So as part of that, they'll have additional production. So they have been in coordination with DPW, the town manager's office as well. We've looped in, and town council has been working with us as well. So basically, they're requesting additional daily flows added to their sewage, their industrial pre-treatment permit. And so right now they're allowed 170,000 gallons per day. And later this year would go up to 200,000 gallons a day, and then next year 240,000 gallons per day. And this was factored in when we were working on the Devon's agreement, when Mark Wetzel was previously here. This was factored into future flows. So currently, town manager's office and DPW, we're negotiating with Nasoya to put together a memorandum of agreement, and it factors in some off-site improvements that are needed due to these increased flows, and the connection fees, the cost for allowing these increased flows as well. And so, as I mentioned, it's not really a select board level item, but it is such a large item because it's a large amount of flow they're asking for. So the connection fees, get to be pretty expensive. So just want to let the board know, if the board would like more information, I can provide more. I'm happy to. So that's in the works.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. That's it. Is it 6:40?
I'll notarize that tomorrow.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Robert.
Madam Chair, members of the board, good evening. So the next item is the opening of the annual town meeting warrant by the select board for the annual town meeting to take place on Monday, April 27th, 2026 at 7 p.m. The board has in your packet, it was also sent to the town clerk, the moderator, and the FinCom, the schedule. I just highlight that the deadline for all warrant articles will be noon on Friday, April 2nd. That's also the deadline for any citizens' petitions to the town clerk. The select board is scheduled to meet to finalize and approve that warrant at your meeting on Tuesday, April 7th at 6 p.m. And then upon your approval of the warrant will be officially posted by Friday, April 10th and sent for printing and mailing to all Ayer households. So we're respectfully requesting that the board vote to officially open the annual town meeting warrant.
Any questions?
Nope. I'll make a motion that the board approve the opening of the annual town meeting warrant as presented.
Seconded? All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye. So I'd just like to do a friendly reminder to everybody, because some people ask on social media, why is it not on a Saturday? Because ironically, there was an article at one point and town meeting said no. So, and this is in the bylaw, it's the same time frame every year. So please save the date and show up on April 27th and let your voice be heard. Thank you. Next up, town manager's report.
All right, Madam Chair, members of the board, I know it's January 20th, but Happy New Year since the board last met on December 16th. I have two items tonight, just a brief administrative update, and then wanted to provide the select board with just a brief update on the budget, specifically draft one, and I have a... Sorry.
Just for clarification, in here it says Tuesday, April 27th, but it's Monday. Your meetings are on Monday?
It's the 27th. I am so sick of these date
Oh, no.
problems today.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm reading the wrong place. I read something.
Sorry.
Okay. And I just have a few...
There have been
I
a
give you
lot
a
of
heart
date
attack.
issues today. I am so sorry, everyone, but it is...
It's Monday.
It is Monday. I did say Tuesday. It is Monday, April 27th is town meeting. Oh, my
Yep.
God. This is...
Okay.
The calendar, this is just going haywire today.
Sorry.
Check your checks as you write them. So I just have a few slides in a moment on the update for draft one of the budget, and those slides will be posted to the select board webpage. But just first on the administrative update, since the board last met We've been very involved, not only with the budget, which I'll talk about in a minute as we enter this sort of perfect storm that I've been talking about on the budget. We have gone full steam ahead on the senior center project. Just so the board is aware, the building committee plans to, and something to think about, does want to give the select board periodic updates on the project as it moves forward. They are going to be using their webpage to post materials and updates on that. And I just want to, just some clarifications that I heard for the first time tonight about the CDBG grant related to the senior center. I want to make it clear that we do have an approved project. We have an approved site. We have town meeting approval. We have approved funding. We are in final design now, subject to final design going to construction documents by the beginning of February. If you look at the project timeline, we are shovel ready. So I just want to clarify something that was said earlier, because that is the first time I have ever heard any of those questions. And having used CDBG here for 16 years and then also in Fitchburg prior, we've applied for CDBG grants as larger than this, with far less level of detail and approval. So I just want to clarify, not a criticism, but just clarify, as you had asked a good question to the board, that we do have a shovel-ready project. We are planning to apply for April when the round opens. And in addition to our community Office of Community Economic Development, because this grant is so important to the project, we are also partnering with the Pioneer Valley consultants to make sure that our application is the most competitive. And I do believe, as I've maintained for over the last year, that we're very competitive. I can't guarantee anything, especially in this day and age, but I just want the board to be rest assured, in the public, that we are in very good shape for this, because it is a significant piece of the funding plan for the project. So I appreciate the clarification on that. I also, our new IT manager, John Maxwell, hit the ground running on January 12th. If you have any IT questions or needs, he's your guy. He is very proactive and on top of it. We've been involved in contract negotiations, and all of this, as the board knows, is a very busy time from January till April. Rate review has recently had its first meeting looking at water and sewer and stormwater rates. Capital will meet this Thursday with fire, facilities, and police. They met with the Department of Public Works 2 weeks ago. That's moving forward. And so all of the budget pieces will be coming together. And I just want to point out, Madam Chair, before I get to the budget, as the board is aware, your meeting on February 3rd will be a portion of it will be the joint meeting with the FinCom with the Ayer Shirley Regional School District regarding their FY27 assessment as they come down each year. So that'll be a big piece. Any questions from the board on any administrative matters? And then I just have a few slides on draft one.
No, but you mentioned rate review, and we have our next meeting next Tuesday, the 27th at 4 o'clock. So
Thank you. Yep. Okay. So I just have a few slides. So I want to give the board just a brief update on draft one of the omnibus budget. And I want a special thanks to all town departments that we've been really actively meeting with since October, when this presented itself really for the first time. And a special thanks to Barbara Tierney, the finance manager, for all of her work in putting draft one together. So next slide. So this slide, I presented to the board back in November when we were talking about this perfect storm and the worst case scenario. And I just showed this as a reminder to frame the issue. And what the issue is, in a nutshell, is the FY26 omnibus budget, for the sake of discussion, was about $20 million. And that was a 5.9% increase over the previous year. And one of the concerns is that over the last 10 years, the omnibus budget has been increasing on average by about 5.2%. And as the board is aware, in terms of Proposition 2.5, we can raise taxes up to 2.5% without override. The issue is we really need to get back to no more than 5% and ideally lower as we move forward. So I brought that up in November because let's assume that the omnibus budget, just the town budget, increases by 5%. That'd be an extra $1 million or a total of $21 million. Now, there were all of these budget drivers, and in the interest of time, the two big ones that are further challenging is the health insurance, which in November we were assuming a 20%, I'll get to that in a minute, increase, because it's now more like 25. And then the school assessment lower is, so at 20%, $500,000 of that million is gone to health insurance increase. And then the school, Ayer Shirley Regional School assessment, I put a placeholder assuming a 5% increase. That would be $765,000. As the board is aware, since regionalization, the range on the assessment has gone anywhere from approximately 3% to there was 1 year, it was about 9%. So just at that point, because we don't know what that increase is, we'll get more of an idea on February 3rd. So at that time, we had a shortfall of about $1 million. Next slide, just to frame where we're at. So on November 12th, if you factor in where we're at, we're about, with the budget drivers, we're about just over $2 million short. Then if you move over to December 10th, the bad news was from November to December when we met with the town's health insurance provider, Maya. I told them that we were looking at a 20% placeholder, and they're like, you really should, in planning for the worst, because we hope for the best, but we have to plan for the worst, you should use about a 22 to 25% maximum exposure placeholder. So that's what in draft one of the budget assumes 25%. We are really hoping, we won't know till the end of February, beginning of March, that number comes in below 25%. Even, I never thought I would say this, but coming in at 20% for this year would be helpful. So that was concerning. The debt service, so that's each year, that's what we owe on the debt service for all the capital projects and so forth. We started out at about $283,000 on November 12th. In working with the departments, and a special thanks again to Barbara, we got debt service down to 185, and as you'll see in a moment, we're down right now to about 119,000. So that has been positive. Then our contract obligations, our non-union obligations, fixed costs, and there's that school assessment assumes the 5%. So if you fast forward to January 14th, right before draft one, where we're sitting, we're still waiting on this health insurance, which we're not going to know till the end of February, beginning of March. The debt service is at $119,000, and we continue to review that. Our union contract obligation, so this is for all of the personnel contracts, the union contracts that exist now, the impact is about $200,000. That doesn't include the one contract that's up this year, which is the clerical union, which negotiations are underway. The non-union contract obligations of about $125,000. That does not include, which I have a slide on in a moment, does not include 3 personal service contracts that are under negotiation or any type of non-union COLA recommendation. The fixed costs are holding largely because fuel remains favorable. I don't want to jinx us, Dan, but the fuel side, the fuel costs, we don't know on the school assessment. And then the Neshoba Valley Technical High School school assessment, which we'll find out, that should say February 5th, they'll be releasing their number. The placeholder, there we go with the dates. The placeholder, that's just an estimate of 100,000 because we have some more students. I anticipate that number, in talking to the superintendent, will hopefully land somewhere between 85 to 90,000. So With the drivers, we're just over 2 million, in the concern area. Next. So, draft one, which you have in your packet, just a quick overview, was transmitted on January 16th to the Select Board FinCom. It is on the budget webpage and it is in the packet per the budget calendar. Draft one assumes a level services budget, meaning we looked at how do we maintain the same level of service at this time. And if the board recalls, I asked for 3 scenarios: a level service, which we do every year; level funded, which is a model that will assume you only have the money from FY26; and then a scenario looking at a 10% reduction. All of that is positioning us, depending on what we have to do in terms of the health insurance and the school assessment. There are no new positions in the budget. It assumes a 25% increase. So again, 25% would be a $650,000 increase. We're hoping for lower. Doesn't include the clerical contract costs, but that target will have that contract done by February 14th. The non-union personal service contracts is 3. Those will be wrapped up also the beginning of February. It doesn't include any non-union COLA costs, which the board is aware per the financial policies. There's a process for that, and will be coming before you at your second meeting, Amanda, the benefits and payroll manager, and I, on February 17th with a recommendation. So draft one that went in increases, it's just a draft, increases the budget by just over 1.1 million or 5.8%. So we're making good progress. Last year we were at 5.9. We've got to get that number to 5%. So we're over, just in the omnibus, about 161,919. Next. So moving forward. So what's happening now is we are further reviewing and adjusting what's in draft one to prepare for a draft two. We anticipate we're going to keep the board and the FinCom updated. I'm going there on January 29th. I was there last Thursday, and then next Thursday for an in-depth dive on draft one. We're going to keep both boards and the public updated. We anticipate to have a draft number 2 once we get that health insurance number and a better handle on the school number. Then we'll have a much clearer picture of where we're looking at. In the meantime, we continue to review with all departments, and what we've been doing since October is looking at the spending history of every account versus what's in the budget. Looking back 3 to 5 years, departments that have turned over funding consistently and so forth, we're making those adjustments. We are identifying wants versus needs, like what do we need in terms for level services as opposed to what we would want. We're looking for other efficiencies, but when we review those savings, we're also looking at what does that mean to impact to services. So if we just make cuts, the board can appreciate what do those cuts mean in terms of services. Draft one currently contains, now there are no new positions, but there are currently 3 vacant positions that are under review. The first one is an administrative assistant to the town manager select board office. That was full-time. It's been reduced to 30 hours at this time in draft one, and we're still looking at that. The assistant building inspector, that was full-time. That's been reduced to 30 hours in draft one, and we're still looking at that with the building commissioner. The social worker position, which was a new position in 2022, has been vacant since 2023. The service level needs are unclear because it's a new position and we didn't get that baseline. And the current salary is not competitive. So right now I'm just flagging those 3 areas. There have not been obviously definitive decisions on that. The IT budget, the new IT manager started January 12th. Draft one of the IT budget is largely level funded from last year. However, I've met with him informally. I'm meeting with him formally tomorrow. We anticipate there to be some further savings in that IT budget, and I'll show you in just a second. On the fire department budget, we're looking at a potential shift of some of the emergency medical costs to the ambulance enterprise fund, the review of overtime trends, and an analysis to be completed regarding state hospital mitigation funding. And then, in the interest of space, we're meeting with library, all of the departments again to look at this. And again, that the big two are the health insurance, and that's everywhere, and the school assessment. Next. So there's FY26 was just over 20 million. Our target is 21,029,000. 5% or $1 million increase is the target. Draft 1 right now is at 5.8% or 161,919 over target. The clerical contract costs to be determined, that's under negotiation. The non-personal contract, same thing. A non-COLA looking back, a non-union COLA for all of the non-union folks, the call fire department, and the elected stipends and so forth would be about a $65,000 at 2%. That is not in the budget, and we'll discuss that more February 17th. So if we were to meet our target at 5%, we need to reduce the budget by approximately another $277,000, and there's already been some adjustments. So the good news is we're getting there, and it is a process. Is that the last one more? Okay, so what are the next steps? So draft number 2 must meet the target of 5%, and it will. Number 2, we will submit a formal draft number 2 once we have the health insurance and the school numbers, which I anticipate would be late February/early March at the latest, but we'll continue to provide updates to FinCom, Select Board, and the public. And then our upcoming dates. So February 3rd is a joint meeting. A part of the Select Board meeting that night is a joint meeting where we'll get the first look at the initial Ayer Shirley Regional School District assessment. February 5th, it will be the Neshoba Valley Technical High School will issue its assessment. The board has been invited to the annual budget breakfast, as is the FinCom. That's where they do it every year. February 17th, we'll talk about the COLA. And then late February, early March, and we keep putting in weekly calls. We keep pushing for late February. Everybody is, for Maya to announce the health insurance rates. And then Wednesday, March 25th at 6 p.m. will be the public budget presentation as a joint meeting of the Select Board and Finance Committee with all departments here as an opportunity for the public to ask any questions and offer any input. So we are making progress, but those 2 areas are of concern in terms of affordability. And the last point I would make is it would be wonderful if this appeared to be a one and done type of thing. But looking at, in my opinion, for what it's worth, the situation on the federal and state level, which is required to fix the health insurance situation, which is broken, we have to also prepare for next year. We take things year by year, but that health insurance, that's the talk of the town. So not just this town, everywhere. So I appreciate the time. I will get hard copies of these slides to the board, and it will be posted tomorrow to the website as I finish them up. So I appreciate the time. If there are any questions right now from the board.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You brought up the, on the fire department,
Yeah.
as far as funding and everything, and the effects of the hospital.
Mhm.
So approximately December 2024, I think it was, all the fire chiefs in the surrounding towns, there was at least 10 of them, maybe more, that signed the letter, sending it to the governor's office, asking for, I think I had the amount wrong, but I want to say it was like 9 million. And we waited and waited, and just so you know, we then waited. And then there was some partial funding because that's the way they were going to do it, and that's fine. We get it, you know. How are we doing with the rest of the funding? Because it was recently announced from Congressman Congresswoman Trahan's office that funding has been released, like, hey, isn't everything hunky-dory? And this was actually the money that we had asked for and still waiting for. So how are we doing on that?
So excellent question. So last December, Chief, if you want to come up through the chair, you're correct. We asked for approximately 9.2 million over 2 fiscal years in December of 2024. We have just recently received notification that they're going to give 5 million this year to multiple towns of the Neshoba Valley. And there's a formula for that, and our portion is going to be 845,000. Now, it has not been released yet. Chief is waiting. Should have been, in my opinion, this month, but we're waiting for the rest of the guidance on this. Now, the intent is that money is to be used to offset impacts, direct impacts from the hospital closure. Couple things. One is, you are correct, that is only half of the ask, and we will be back very shortly to talk about asking for the rest of it, because we need the second half, and in that second half, if you will, there was specific funding to do a third-party professional study of the entire EMS system, so we can understand moving forward, meaning specifically emergency response. So we don't know yet. We will very shortly. Barbara and I have met with the chief and the deputy as to what that funding, we do know, has to be used by June 30th of 2027. But we're waiting for the specifics, and once we have those, the chief will come back with an update. And to your point, the second piece, we're going to need everybody's support on the second ask, as I call it. The last piece, just not to get lost in it, is the loss of the hospital has resulted in the loss of 500 jobs to Ayer. These gentlemen and ladies are straight out. We've gotten half of the mitigation money, well, we don't have it yet, that we've asked for. And as I told the board, or reported to the board some time ago, the assessors were anticipating that because the building is now vacant, an estimated approximate loss of about $250,000 in tax revenue that will hit next year, that has to be spread out across the taxes. So it's a huge, it's been a big loss.
So when I originally went into the Navy, I was a data processor. And one of the big things that we did was flow charts. And if everyone just went back to the simple flow chart of, this is the hospital and this is the impact, and it was actually drawn out and then thrust at our governor and our Congress's faces of, here's the impacts of all the physicians that had to move because no one was assisting them with hospital rights and everything like that. Maybe that would help our message. I really think that an old-fashioned drawing is needed. Well, we all know how upset I get about this issue. So let us know what you need from this board. I believe I can speak safely that we are here and raring to go if you need something.
Madam Chair, if I might add too, when we signed that, well, when we were invited to the governor's office to sign that, I was the second one to speak that while it was great for the first year, we really needed the second as well. So, getting that support out ahead, as soon as they announced the money and the funding to the towns, I was like the senators and reps. I said, it's great, but we still got to think about year 2 so we come up with a plan. So, we lost some of our bigger voices maybe on the chief side, but like I said, we'll continue to advocate for that second round as well.
I think part of the problem is that everybody is, they're a little tired, they're a little bit hoarse, and they had to, other things came up. And so this, even though it is highly important and everyone knows it's a priority, they've had to pivot to go do something like that, something else. And if we can just grab everybody for 10 minutes to get them back over here and start screaming again.
Yeah. No, we'll continue on the fire chief side.
Oh, I know you will. I know you will.
And we're going to be back with 2 things. One is a more specific update on the funding once we have all the details, and then a discussion about next steps.
All right. Let us know if you need.
Thanks, Chief.
Nope.
So unless there's any other questions from the board, Madam Chair, that concludes my report, and I appreciate the time on the draft 1 update.
I don't have any. Nope, I don't have nothing. I know we had nothing under new business. Select board member questions?
Nope.
No? Okay. So next up is the meeting minutes from January 9th.
Madam Chair.
Oh my
I
God. I'm done. I'm done.
I just
I
noticed
am
this.
done. I'm thinking, I don't remember being here. Oh my God, I am so sorry to the public. It has been awful on our dates, and we're just so sorry. We really are. Oh my God. This should be December 9th and December 16th. I didn't even notice that. When I approve, oh my God, I'm gonna,
I didn't
the
notice
next
until-
one I am reviewing with a fine tooth comb. Oh my
too.
God. Oh.
You're gonna need a sticky note.
All
You're gonna
right.
need a sticky note.
Are the dates on the meeting minutes
Correct.
correct?
Correct.
We have,
It's the month
we have December 9th,
and December 16th.
and I
I
didn't
did change.
see anything.
Okay.
And then December 16th,
I changed to 5 p.m.
the, under the town manager's report, it was changed before we walked in here as far as we discussed, to meet at 5 p.m. for tonight. So that has been amended, that got amended prior to us walking in, and so,
Pauline has her hand raised.
oh, I'm sorry, Pauline. Yes.
No, it's Janice, thank you for recognizing me. Really quick questions. I kept hitting the wrong click to raise my hand. With respect to the budget potential shortfall, is free cash available to augment that?
So, through the chair, to Pauline, so as you know, Pauline, it's subject to town meeting approval. However, the Department of Revenue, we have to sort of petition them to use that in the sense, because so many towns, as you know, have used free cash for operating costs instead of
Right.
one time they get in the hole. So, yes, the answer would be yes, subject to, running it by the DOR and subject to town meeting approval. Our goal right now, and we can discuss that more moving forward, is to not use any free cash for the budget. But if we got it, yeah.
I'm sorry, I understand all that,
Yeah.
but especially with the way things are going with health insurance these days, I would think that free cash would be an easy fix for that because people need their health insurance and there's no other revenue available for it. So, and private sector is finding the same problem. So I just throw that out there, and we do have free cash available. We should use it to make sure our employees are covered. And then the other really quick question, I know the town purchased, as have many other towns around us, purchased a new vehicle that's usually called Medic 1, 2, 3, whatever, which runs $500,000-$600,000. Did that not come from the Healy administration? Because they suggested it did.
Oh, sorry.
So,
It's all right, Janice.
Madam Chair, if I may, yeah, that was purchased, the car that you see running around, it's Paramedic 1. That was purchased with the capital funding we received for this state a couple months after the hospital closed for $250,000, and all that money went towards the purchase of the car as outfitting it too, and it used the entire amount. So that was no cost to the town.
I get that and I understand it, but all of a sudden now they think they don't owe us more money? I appreciate, and I'm just
They
throwing
think
that
they
out
owe
there.
us more money? Because we'll take it. Is that
No,
what you
they
said?
owe us as much as they can give us.
Yeah.
All right, I was just curious. Thank you, Tim. And thank you, everybody.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
You too.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. All right, so back to the meeting minutes.
I have no
I'm sorry, I could, because the thumbnail used to be over there, and then it switched, yeah, so that's why I didn't see her. So, okay.
All right, I'll make a motion that the board approve the meeting minutes from Tuesday, December 9th and Tuesday, December 16th as presented in the packet,
No.
with the edit of the 6 p.m. to 5 p.m.
Let's try this again. Let's do it two separate.
Okay.
Okay. Because otherwise, we don't know what we've just changed to 6 p.m.
Make a motion that the board approve the meeting minutes from December 9th, 2025 as presented.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
The chair says aye. Those meeting minutes are approved.
Make a motion that the board approve the meeting minutes from December 16th, 2025 with the edit of the Tuesday, January 20th meeting should have been listed at 5 p.m., not 6 p.m.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
And chair says aye. All right.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
And chair says aye. Good night, everybody.